Okay. Bet. We in here. We in here. Let's do it. Okay, let's get right into it. Y'all see the title of the video. I was doomed on focus just like you. So if you guys don't know, I'm 24 and a half years old currently right now. Yes, I'm an April baby. All the spring babies, comment down below if your birthday is in the springtime. And then comment the number 4 if your birthday is in April as well. So anyways, let's get into it. I was doomed just like you. And just like you, man, I was in disarray. You know, my whole life was in shambles. I had no direction, no type of structure, no sense of structure. You get what I'm saying? So it all started at this. When I was around the age of, let's say, 18 years old, like most 18 years old, year old, you know, guys or gals, you don't really know what you want to do at your life at 18. I didn't either. So first thing I did was I went into trade school because my grandfather is a general contractor. He's been a general contractor since before I was even born. So he the one that suggested the idea that I get into a trade since I didn't want to do the college thing, right? So I said, okay, cool. 70 seconds. And I said, cool. So anyways, I got into the trades. So I started trade school like after I graduated. I started trade school that following fall of my graduation year of 2019. So after that, went into that, and I also got a job prior to going to trade school at Amazon. So yes, I was working at Amazon, throwing boxes and things like that, and also going to trade school at the same time. And this was a pretty stressful point in my life, you know what I mean? Because I was trying to balance two things, make sure I kept my grades up, going to trade school, and also working a laborious job like Amazon. 10 to 11 hour shifts, 11-hour shifts. I know y'all can relate to this during what they call peak season, which is Q4. And actually, peak season would actually be now if I was still working at Amazon. But of course, I haven't worked in Amazon in, sheesh, man, probably over 5 years. But anyways, getting back to why I was doomed just like you. So you got to think, I was 18 years old during the time. So during this time, I'm working at Amazon. I'm just gonna say, I don't know if this is ghetto, but I'm gonna say working at Zon at 18, and then also I was going to trade school. And funny enough, guys, this trade school, it wasn't even like a associate degree or anything like that. It wasn't a 2-year program. It was actually a 10.5-month program. So, and mind you, this, when I was 18 years old, this is 2019 during the time. So, 2019, I was 18 years old, 2019. So I'm going through all of that, and you know, during this time at Amazon, man, like I said, I was pretty stressed out, man. So all I wanted in my life was some level of relief. So I was partying almost like every weekend, if not minimum every other weekend. So of course you gotta imagine with Amazon checks at that time, I was making like 15, no more than $16 an hour, right? So I was making that much during this time, and I can't believe I was doing all of that partying. But remember, this is 2019. Now we get into 2020, now that I'm 19 years old. So let's move forward. Being 19 years old. So in 2020, and yes, y'all guessed it, the pandemic. And I was still working at Amazon at this time because I was, you know, once again, I told you this trade school, this program was 10.5 months. So in 2020, Hef was 19 years old. I'm gonna make this relatable back to you guys, man. I'm just letting y'all know like my story. Hey, I'm doing this live, man. I really this was like one of the lives I really didn't have like a real structure how I want to do this. So I'm really going with the flow with this one. Because I had to take care of like some business ventures first thing in the morning. Y'all know I get up at like 5 o'clock in the morning every day. Anyways, in 2020, pandemic, I was 19 years old. A month after I turned 19, so a month after April, I turned 19, I moved out on my own, 1 bedroom, crappy apartment, the whole shebang, like a lot of other people, right? Moved into it, and I was actually talked into getting it by my coworkers that I work with at Amazon. So now we can make that a different like video. Like, did I regret that? Looking back on it, things like that, or was it like was it actually more good and bad that came out of that? But that's a different story for a different day. So now I'm 19, and now I'm not only still going to trade school, still got to work these stressful shifts at Amazon. And the only thing that I had to cope with during this time was, like I said, being with my work friends at Amazon made it bearable. And, going out every weekend during this time made it bearable for me. So, once again, this is pandemic. So while everybody was at home for the most part, Amazon workers and people in the trades, they were both what they call essential workers. I didn't land a gig in the trades until like I was probably 19 and a half. So remember, this is when I'm like freshly like 19, I want to say. If my math is mathing. So I'm freshly 19 during the pandemic. And where I'm from, Detroit, man, during the pandemic, I ain't never seen the city this full and loaded. Like it was slapping during the pandemic. So I was already outside during this time. So you got to think, of course, I love that. I mean, we was getting like little hazardous pay at Amazon, whatever. The paychecks was a little heftier. A lot of us went, what is that called? We went unexempt for the taxes and all of that. So yeah, I'm 19, man, and I'm out here. So was doing a lot of partying, everything like that. And then eventually, what happened was with that trade program I was telling you guys, because of the pandemic, it actually set that program back. We was on a pause for another 3 months. And I think I was probably 3/4 into completion of that course. So I'm like, dang, man. So I end up getting done with that program probably December 2020, if I remember correctly. Yeah, the math is mathing, because remember I told y'all in 2019 I started the trade program in like the fall. So if the math is math, and I said that our thing got pushed back another year, yeah, it would have been roughly like December or whatever, right? Anyways, got done with that, got into the trades, landed my first HVAC gig at 19 and a half years old, and I'm living by myself at the time. Still kept in contact with my friends that I worked with Amazon, or I worked at Amazon with, of course, right? So, if I remember correctly, I don't know if I was still heavily partying during this time. I probably wasn't as much, because you know how I go with the trades, man. You sitting around there, you trying to invest in yourself, buying tools, because you got to have your own personal tools for the most part, basic hand tools, drills, gauges, things like that. And also, what else that I had to spend time? Also had to spend time, my own free time, studying, going home, looking at HVAC videos and all of that fun stuff, right? So that's 19. And I just want to give you guys the mindset real quick when I was working at Amazon, why I couldn't focus for anything, right? I was doomed. I couldn't focus for anything because subconsciously I was comparing myself to my social circle. And I have a video on YouTube talking about your environment is the enemy. The hardest thing to fight and fend off is your environment. And I want to make that a point in itself, man. I was doomed just like you guys because of my environment, my social group, my friend group. They were all older than me. And they weren't just older than me by like 2 years like everybody in I think the youngest person in my friend group was probably still had me by, sheesh, man, like 7, 8 years. You know what I mean? So a lot of my friend groups, let's just say on average, they were like 12 years older than me. I'm subconsciously comparing myself to them as an 18, 19-year-old, like, oh, I got all the time in the world because, I mean, this is where they're at in life. And I got all the time in the world to still figure it out and test things and see what stick and see what will work. So I don't know if you guys can actually relate to that, but that was my mindset looking back on it. Like, I'm just being transparent. Like I said, I'm not Mr. Perfect or anything like that. That's really was my mindset. I got time to throw stuff to the wall and hope that it stick. And also, don't get this misconstrued. Even though I wasn't structured during this time, even though I didn't have hard set rules about what I wanted to go about this or that. Don't get it confused. I was still investing in myself. Even before 19 years old, I was still reading books. Now that just amplified after probably 19, 20 years old. But I was still reading books at 19. I mean, in high school, I was reading books still, like As a Man Thinketh. What was that? Sid Harther. You know, I think I read Og Mandino, The World's Greatest Salesman. I was really big around this time in my adolescent years into like self-improvement books, right? And then in my adulthood, I started reading more specialized types of books. And real quick, I don't want to go on a tangent, but you know, there's 3 tiers to books. You got general books, scholarly books, and then you got specialty books. So I started getting into more scholarly and specialty books as the years went on. I see whoever in my chat. Good morning to you. Shout out to you. I appreciate you being here. Dropping one in the chat for me. Thank you for stopping by. But let's get right back into it. So that was my mindset, but don't get it confused. I was still reading books during this time, and then I was also trying to take that first big step into investing in myself. So around the age of 20 years old, probably in 2021, I think this was probably the first mentorship that I ever got into. So 2021, this is when like options trading was like the thing to do, right? I don't know if for legal purposes I can say who course it was or whatnot, and I don't want to say who course it was because I don't want it to be in like bad blood or bad energy, right? Because honestly, you know, I wasted a lot of time and money in that. But you know, bro, I'm 24 now. I don't hold no malice in my heart for it, so I'm never going to mention the guy's name because I remember his name to this day, who had his options trading course, and I think he had like 2 or 3 tiers. I think it was the group mentorship, and then it was like the one-on-one. And I want to say I paid for like the one-on-one or the group, but the thing costs like north of like $10,000, and you got to think, as a 20-year-old that's broke, $10,000 is the world to you, right? So let's just say it was in this ballpark. I remember, guys. It was so like in 2021. Like I said, apologies. This live isn't all that structured. I'm pretty sure if I go into my emails and my archives, I'm gonna have to do that probably sometime today, so y'all know I'm not capping. So in 2021, and that's another video in itself. I've invested over $30,000 in mentorships easily. I'm not counting when I went to trade school or anything of that. No, I'm talking about out of my own volition, taking time out to invest in myself. And I'm not even talking about all the money I spent on books. Like, y'all don't even know. Like, y'all see a lot of books, but like I said, I got a lot of scholarly and specialty books. Like, I got books. One book at its peak was valued at $850. I spent $500 on one single book. But anyways, to get back on the topic, what I'm saying is this is all the money that I spent on mentorships. Hey, this guy can teach you how to do this. This guy can teach you how to do this and that. Easily over $30,000. So anyways, this is my first investment in myself into a mentorship. 2021, I want to say, I would have been 20 years old. So was 20, yeah, 20 years old. Fresh, I was a baby into the trade. The reason I got into options trading is because I read this book. Where is it, man? So y'all know I'm not capped out. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Where's that book at? Is it on me? Yup, right here. Yeah, y'all. I ain't got a cap for nothing, man. Like I do this for real. So if y'all see this book right here, Make More Money, 12 Profit Pillars for HVAC Contractor Success. I read this book when I was in that pocket, like 19 or 20, right? It was either 2020 or 2021. I read this book and it woke me up because remember, HVAC or trades wasn't my passion. I just picked something because it was suggested to me when I was in high school. Like, hey, bro, what you about to do after high school? Okay, grandfather was like, hey, man, hey, get you in a trade. If you ain't gonna do the college thing, I'm like, okay, fine. So what I tell you, I was a reader still. So at 20 years old, I read this book, and in this book, it crushed my dreams of starting my own HVAC business. And I was only going to start it for the sole reason, it's just to make a lot of money. It wasn't because it was a passion of mine. It was strictly to make money. And so when I read in there that a so-called good HVAC owner is only going to take home 10 to 15% of the gross revenue, and man, that's gross. So let's say, and I remember he did a math. Let's say you was running a residential company. I'm not gonna go on a tangent, but let's say you was running a residential company, right? Where you just do nothing but houses. You go house to house, you put in furnaces and ACs for people, and you do repairs on them. Each one of those vans that you have on the road, let's say you got a technician that you send out, they should bring you about $250,000, which is 250,000 at you guys at home, 250,000 a year each van. So if I had 4 guys, then I will gross $1 million, but I will only take home about $100,000. And I'm like, that headache wasn't worth it, because you got to remember, I'm in the trade during this time, and I'm like, hold on. I'm like, bro, this is stressful for me to work, and I can see how stressful this is for a business owner, because if y'all know anything about HVAC work, this trade has to account for the most callbacks out of any trades, because you're mixing it to fix it. You're mixing so many different things, so many different aspects. So you got to bring out torches like you're a welder. We still gotta play with fire. You still dealing with electricity, not the extreme as a electrician, and we're not doing torches as the extreme as a welder, but we still got to implement that into our everyday to day work. We messing with that. We still messing with natural gas. I mean, we mess with flammable refrigerants that can give you like frostbite. We're messing with sharp metal if you're doing installs. Just stay with me. What else are we messing with? The headaches of having to diagnose all of these little wires, these low voltage issues, and what else? What else is unsafe? We still gotta throw up ladders like a roofer. Like I said, not the extreme, but we still gotta throw up ladders. So we pulling from like a lot of trades, and then we still gotta fix like water leaks. Like goodness gracious, like a plumber. So this thing is big on callbacks, and callbacks are very costly. And just to go into that real quick, I don't want to stay on that, because like I said, it's not my passion. My passion is helping you guys, but giving y'all kind of my backstory. I think this will be helpful. So hey, why not? What was I about to say? Oh, a callback is this, man, and why it's so costly. If let's say I had a technician, I sent them out like, hey, this person needs something fixed. They go out there, we charge them like a service fee, we charge them labor, and we charge them if something needs like a part to do the repair. Okay, they pay you the money, but then you do the repair, and then they call you back 2 days later or a week later and be like, hey, it's still not fixed. Guess what? With my technician, I gotta send him back out there for free for the problem. And so why is that so costly? Well, let's say it takes him 4 hours to actually get to the bottom of that problem, if he even gets down to the bottom of the problem the second time around. Well, I still got to pay my technician for 4 hours of his own labor, and that 4 hours could have been spent being profitable at a first time fix house or a customer. So now you never know, like who your contractor is. They might say, hey, we might have to take the L on coming out of the pocket for the part, or we might just have to have an upset customer because we can't have a sustainable business unless we charge them, even though it's a callback for the additional part that's needed. Anyways, it's very costly. Unlike being a plumber or electrician, bro, it's cut and dry. Like, and that'd be a whole different video in itself. And shout out to the other person that's in the chat. Like I said, just drop a one, say what's up. I see you watching. But anyways, man, looking back on it, man, if any trade I would have just picked, I would have just been an electrician and been chilling, man. One thing I can say about HVAC that it gave me, it made me mentally like strong, man, because you gotta still fill out paperwork like you a white collar guy, and then you gotta still get your hands dirty like blue collar. It's a blue collar job, and then it's the headache of being a technician. Like, you not only have to know what's wrong with the system and diagnose it, you diagnosing it in the elements, you on a cold roof, hot attic, things like that. But now you also have to have the know-how to do the repairs. So very, very high stress job, especially when you get into like low voltage issues that can really send you down a rabbit hole. Anyways, what was my point of saying all of this? So Hef at 20 years old, I read that book. So wow, I just went on a tangent, my bad. So when I read his book, it crushed my heart. I'm like, yeah, I already don't like the trade, this trade in itself. So I'm like, well, I'm definitely not about to make no business out of it, because before I start seeing the money that I really want to see, I'm probably gonna be over 50, 60 years old. And I'm like, no, I don't got time. I don't got time for that. If the average man in America lives to roughly 75 years old, I'm like, I'm good on that. So anyways, that's what kind of pulled me to spend and invest about anywhere between 7,500, 7,500 to 10,000 in a mentorship and options trading. Didn't really get what I expected out of it. I thought it was more I thought it was more stable than what it was. And what I mean by that is, you know how they sell you like, oh, our community, we have like a 70% win rate. Yeah, our win rate is 70%. So, if you do the numbers on that, if if you had $10,000 to spend, then wow, you probably lose 3,000 in the process, but you're gonna profit like 7,000 or something like that. We got a high win rate. Well, the win rate for me wasn't, as you assume, wasn't a 70%. And during this time, like I said, I know you got option traders and things out there like that, but man, this investment, y'all think I had this money on hand? No, man. Like I said, in my Amazon days, I was spending too much time partying and spending money partying. And time is money. So you taking 4 or 5 hours out of the day to party on a Saturday or whatever, that could have been 4 to 5 hours in self-improvement, or even just picking up another shift. So let's say you was making $20 an hour and you just took 5 hours out of your day on a Saturday. That's $100 before tax right there, like gone, just gone. And then not to think about $20 for parking, maybe on average $50 to get into the club, and I was under 21. So some clubs I had to pay like double to get in and whatnot. I just looked it up, seen that. Okay. And then I had to pay double to get in the club, and then put it in on shots and drinks. You know how that go, man. So give me 1 second. But you know how that go. Anyways, so you think I had this money on hand at 20 years old, and I would just get into the trade. And when I just got into the trade, I actually made 10 cents less than when I was making at Amazon when I left. Remember I told you I was probably at like the upper 15, 16-ish when I started at Amazon. because I was actually working night shift there, so they had the little premium pay. But then also, well, what happened? About time I left, whatever, they was giving out like 25-cent raises, like a year. So I ended up leaving Amazon, making 16.10. And then when I got into the trades, my service manager at the point when he hired me, he was like, hey, normally we start guys off at $14 an hour, but he was like, hey, since you stay by yourself and since you was making 16.10 at Amazon, he was like, I'm gonna start you off at 16. So think of that, man. At this time, I was making no more than probably 18 bucks an hour. And you know what I had to do to this? I had to pull out a personal loan. I had to pull out a personal loan for $10,000, my first personal loan. I think it was through Upstart, if I remember correctly. I'm like, oh my goodness. This is what I'm talking about, man. I was doomed on focus just like y'all. I was doomed on focus because once again, I wasn't passionate about options trading. Like, was it interesting to me? Yeah, kind of, sort of. It was more interesting to me than heating and cooling. I say that much. But I mean, it wasn't no passion of mine. It wasn't no passion of mine. So I eventually didn't like the return on investment with this during the time. So I quit that, right? So I quit that. So what happens next? I think I got into sports betting probably in 2022 or 2021. So just notice, like after the age of 19, I was in this perpetual state of trying to do all I can to like reinvest into myself, even though I didn't have the right framework to have focus and discipline. You get what I'm saying? That's why I was telling you guys that you guys, if you over here on this channel, you're on the right track, just the wrong train. And a lot of you guys know what y'all need to do. Y'all just not taking those steps and taking no actions. I'm here to guide you to doing that because I've been there and done that before. Like, man, Midwest living, man. Like, you kind of gotta, like life speed up for you here in a way. So that was 2021 half. So then now we got 2022. Sports betting. So I get into sports betting. I was never the person that can really sit up unless it was like the finals in NBA or it was the Super Bowl and in the NFL or the World Series. Baseball, MLB is my favorite sport, by the way. Fun fact. I could never sit up unless it was something like that going on. I could sit there and watch that. But I got into sports betting, I want to say 2022. So, or did I? No, maybe it was 2023. Like I said, yo, I gotta check like old receipts, and that's gonna be cool. I'm gonna have to go to the archives, go down memory lane, and I'm probably gonna shed a tear how much money went into this. But I can look at it as a positive that I was just that committed to really trying to change my life. And this is one of these principles that you guys can take away too, right? Is that you want things to change in your life, then you have to change your life. And the environment is the key thing. So 2022, that was one of the things. I started to stray away from my same friends that I worked with at Amazon. And I noticed and I started sitting back like, dang, well, I was in a hole for this long trying to pay back this $10,000 loan for this option trading. So I got rammed like two ways. Maybe I shouldn't say that on YouTube. I got screwed over better. I got screwed over two ways. One was with option trading. Do you think you can borrow the mentor's money? No, you got to put your own money into these trades. So I'm putting my own money, spending my own time trying to learn this, and then I had to spend $10,000, right? So man, I got screwed over like three ways. You know what I mean? Three ways. So that gave me like my first line of reflection. Like, dang, this was very costly. Anyways, to move along, 2022, I think this was a sports betting mentorship. I gotta look at the price, but it wasn't like it was a what would they say? It wasn't like it was a low 5-figure investment. I don't even think it was like a mid 4-figure investment. And guys, real quick, what I mean by mid 4 figures, what I'm saying is like, it wasn't like it was, I don't think 4, 5, 6,000 even. That mentorship was probably less than 25, three grand. And I think I took out another loan, right? Took it out. Same thing, man. It didn't work. It didn't work for me. Let me speed this story up, man, cause I think it'd be better if I actually how can I say it? I think it'd be better if I sit up there and actually get the receipts and all of that together. And so I can make this story more cohesive, and I can really like go back on each point and be like, oh yeah, I did spend all that money like at this and that time. Anyways, did that. That didn't work for me. After that, I did what did I do? I remember these was like back to back. I got into drop shipping. I think I got into drop shipping in 2023. Oh my goodness. So sports betting, mentorship, drop shipping in 2023. I want to say, drop shipping in 2023. The best thing I got out of that drop shipping mentorship was connections. I got like-minded friends, individuals on the same mission, trying to do something positive with our lives, turn our lives over for the better. So I'm grateful. That's the best thing, and that was actually worth it at that point, because like I said, my very first investment with the option trading, I didn't get anybody out of that where I had somebody like-minded. And granted, I was I ain't gonna say anti-social, but I just wasn't a super social butterfly during that time. It was my first mentorship, so I didn't really want to interact with people because I didn't want to like throw off the energy. You know, I was just real self-conscious during the time. You know, but this one, hands on, man. It was 3 guys that I really meshed with well, and we were just on FaceTime with one another like less than a month ago, chopping it up. Everybody's doing real well right now and everything like that. So shout out to my boys. Two of my guys out in the Bay Area and my other guy out in New York, man. You already know how that go. So anyways, drop shipping. I remember this one. This one cost like $15,000. So yeah, pretty sure it cost $15,000. Took out another personal loan, and then I took out another personal loan. So I can actually, what did I do? I went unemployed. Like I quit my job. I was trying to really bet on myself and say, hey man, I forced myself to kind of lock in. And this is the part where I start realizing discipline. You don't just need motivation. You need discipline. And I was like, how am I about to induce this discipline to really stay locked in? I said, I'm gonna have to put myself in a corner. And sometimes you hear about this concept, hitting rock bottom. And with my systems now, you don't have to like hit rock bottom, so to speak, to be locked into discipline. You gotta understand, man. A lot of my life, I had to bump my head and figure things out on my own. You get what I'm saying? So I didn't have all the knowledge on neuroscience and cognitive studies at the time. I mean, you see my books now. I mean, I got the game on lock as far as that now, so I can give you systems. And speaking of those systems, you can join my free community right now. It's the Operator Network. You can look that up on School. If you would do so kindly, you can look at that right now. I meant to say that actually earlier in the video. Like I said, man, this really didn't have like no structure. I was so locked in on this task this morning. I'm like, oh, I got my notification around 7:30. Like, oh yeah, you got to go live at 8 in the morning. So anyways, but y'all should still get value out of this, right? Anyways, during this time, this is when I forced myself in a corner where I'm talking about I was at my computer desk for like no exaggeration. My three boys, they can vouch for me. They'll tell you like Hef was in that chair like 14 hours a day because I didn't have to go to work. So I was like, look, I got no excuses why not to get this my all. And during this time, and let me go over this point too. I was always the person when I always caught waves way too late when it came to like the financial space. Even with this YouTube thing, I think I got into YouTube late in itself. I actually tried it back in high school, another topic for another day, but I got into sports betting when sports betting wasn't the same and as easy. Before that, with option trading, I got into option trading when it wasn't when it was somewhat easy. I ain't gonna say easy. And then I got into drop shipping. I think a little too late. But then again, I can also say and be self-aware, say I didn't really stick to it long enough to really see the fruits of his labor. So I did that. And then what I do after that, I did another like option trading mentorship. Now that cost me like another $7,500 to $10,000. I think it's 101. And he was actually teaching well. And I'm self-aware to know this. Like I think truly if I locked in on what he was showing, I would have saw the benefits of that. So shout out to him. Like I said, I won't say his name and not because I got anything bad to say about him. Like I said, I don't know the legalities with this YouTube thing. I'm not just about to start naming people off that I didn't have like their permission before I got on camera. It's anyways. So we got that going on. So I got into another option trading. So easily, I'm gonna find my receipts. I easily spent over $30,000 in mentorships before 25. Like in a 5-year span, I already spent easily over $30,000 in mentorship. So drop shipping, and right after, I did another option trading mentorship. So yeah, just like I said, man, I was missing it. So around this time, I don't know if it was 2022 or 2023. Between this time, this was when like the stock market was super easy. I think everybody was going long, betting that the market will go up, or doing calls, or going bull or whatnot. I think it was that time. I think they call it a quantum period in the market or something, like quantum leap. Where the stock market was super easy, and this is when like a lot of the options trader was getting these gurus coming about because it was so sweet, so easy. So that's what I'm saying too. That's another interesting thing about my story is that anything that was a trend, I got onto it way too. I ain't gonna say way too late, but I got onto it as soon as it became old, as soon as it became late. Like I got back into option trading once it was super easy, and then like months after that it started getting back to where the stock market was. That's when I got back into it. Did options mentorship. Then after that, I think in 2024, I think this is the last time, maybe early 2024, this is the last time that I got into another mentorship, and that mentorship was for sports betting. I'm just looking at the errors of my ways, man, in real time. And don't get me wrong, I do a lot of introspection or whatever like that. But y'all know how I go, man. I gotta tell you like this on live sports betting. Like I said, that'll be my homework sometime this week to find those archives and those receipts, man, so I can really pinpoint when I was spending all this money on mentorships for you guys. Sports betting, another one. That investment was no more than $2,000, but you gotta understand, it don't just stop there for the mentorship. Once again, is the mentor about to give me money to spend on bets? No, I'm putting my own money on that. So even with this, man, and that's the funny thing about this too. We got to look at that as well. all of these mentorships, I'm giving you what I had to invest up front. We not even talking about the money that I actually spent during the mentorship. So when I say I spent that's minimum 30,000. Like, no exaggeration. I could have easily blew through 45, 50,000 in mentorships. I ain't gonna say easily, but I wouldn't be surprised if that's how much I truly spent. Bare minimum, easily 30,000, easily. Really being broke for real, and not having the funds, but trying to bet on myself and spend money on personal loans. That's why if I show you all my Credit Karma right now, my borrowing power and personal loans, like I said, I wasn't taught nothing. I had to really like bang my head against the wall. Hold on. I'm about to show y'all my Credit Karma. Like, I got like $50,000 in borrowing power. That's not normal for a 24-year-old, but that's how many loans I paid back. I had to pay all them loans off. And yes, my credit score is over 700. See offers. Hold on, y'all. Okay, well, here you go. Let's say my borrowing power is actually 41,000 right now. It was actually 50 at one point, I think, because I recently but it normally take like a month or two for them to update it or whatever to the credit bureaus. But I probably less than 2-3 days ago, I canceled this little credit card with Best Buy, because Best Buy was the one that got my credit hit to begin with. I didn't know when I opted into it, they did like this annual fee and I didn't pay it. It was something so small. I would have paid it with ease, but I paid it too late, ended up owing like $100 or $200 on it, but it dropped my credit score. At one point, my credit score peaked at like 750 or 700. I was like 750 when it came to credit score. At like, how old was I? Like 20, 22, 23 years old. Anyways, let's get back to it. What did I want to say about that? Did a sports betting thing. So yeah, I'm pretty sure that it dropped from 50 to 40. But y'all see, you don't get that. They don't, like, these credit bureaus don't just let 24 years olds have a potential of 40,000 worth of borrowing power like that. Like, I had to pay these loans off, and I can tell you, the lenders, it was Pat, what was it called? Patlico. It's like this red logo, red and white logo company. That's their theme colors. And then it was Upstart. And then what else did I use? Upstart was linked with somebody else. But anyways, that's how it was. And then finally, and after 2024, I said, hey man, I need to lock in. So I started reading more and studying more on cognitive studies, things like that. And I finally started having a system, and I made a system where I made focus and procrastination automatic. And this is where everything turned, and all the changes to my life turned up for the better. I'm gonna have to get this story like clear for you guys one day or whatnot. But I'm a living example, man, of not being a perfectionist. Like, I'm not coming on this camera being Mr. Perfect or whatever. I'm just trying to be a living example of what I talk about. Like, you guys don't have to build a plane on the way down. I mentioned that before. Just build a plane on the way down. Action beats trying to be perfect to begin with any day. Taking action. Because indirectly, a skill that I'm building right now is public speaking. This is an indirect skill I'm developing right now. So I can't be mad at this. Like, this is going to pay dividends in the future. Me doing things like that. Me going off the cuff like that. Really no clear plan. Which, I'm not telling y'all, this isn't the wisest thing to get on YouTube with no clear structure. So I can kind of pat myself on the back of like how I was able to yap and try to give you guys something relatable for this long. Anyways, what is it, 8:45? I don't think I'm even about to cut this up into long-term videos, this live. I'm gonna leave it as a live stream. See if anybody resonate with this or whatnot. Y'all can go ahead and join oh my goodness, what is it called? I just had to rebrand the school community. The Operator Network. Operator Network in there by yours truly, man. Y'all see me. Y'all see a cartoon image of my face. That'll be me. Yeah, just opt into it. It's free right now. Actually, in the next 15 minutes, I'm about to go on live. And I'm going live in my free community every Sunday morning, 9 a.m. for an hour straight, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. every Sunday. And I'm going to be here on these lives at 8 o'clock every Sunday in the morning from 8 to 9 a.m. So if y'all want to chop it up with me over there, then y'all can do so. No worries, no problem. I will be there. Very, very consistent. We can chop it up. It can be a group of 3, 5, 10, 20, 30 of us chopping it up, or it can just be me and you one-on-one chopping it up for an hour. You know what I mean? And this is the early stages, so it's real beneficial to, you know, really tap in with me now to get those extra benefits. What else do I want to touch on? So yeah, anyways, I guess this is the important part, right? So I want to say like mid 2024, I really had to like lock in. Mid 2024, what, Hef was 23 years old. In 2024, Hef was 23 years old. So I was 23 years old. I'm like, all right, man. I would just wind it. I was like, for the life of me, I said, man, I stayed locked in. So I want to say after that, probably after that dropship and mentorship, I became a hermit, man. I was at the crib 24/7. I ain't want to come outside no more, man. I'm like, bro, I gotta get this figured out, man. Cause I'm like, man, I'm like less than 10 years now. I'm about to be 30. You know how that time clock get the ringing in your head. So I'm like, man, I gotta lock in. So mid 2024, at 23 years old, I'm banging my head on the wall like, man, I gotta get something that's gonna stick. I gotta get something that's gonna work for me, man. I've been trying for the life of me since 19 years old to become to get financial freedom. I'm like, for goodness gracious, like what do I have to do? You know what I had to do? I had to learn focus. I had to learn discipline. I had to learn how to take motivation and mix that with the discipline. And this is how I beat procrastination. It's mixing all of these together. And the way I did that is, like I said, start spending more time studying neuroscience, cognitive studies, right? I started doing that more. So after I started doing that more, everything started making more sense to me. Like it was I think I spoke on this on the last stream, that Rene Descartes, he was a philosopher, right? And one of his philosophies was that he pretty much looked at logic and emotions as two separate things, that you can like isolate, which isn't the case. And it's a book by I think it's by the Portuguese neuroscientist Antonio Damasio. It's literally, the name of the book is called Descartes' Error. And he said no, actually, any decision that we make in our lives, it takes emotion, because without emotion, you're going to be in this perpetual loop, this endless loop of indecisiveness. You'll never make a decision, essentially, right? So I started learning concepts like that. I started learning about, there's no such thing as dopamine reward. When you hear dopamine reward, that's a term. And we have to remember, the thing about terms, you can have a thing called It's a thing, y'all can look it up. It's called polysemy. Polysemy. Polysymy. Polysemy. And what polysemy means is that one term can mean multiple things depending on what domain it applies to. Polysemy. And when we think of dopamine rewards, when we talking about having focus and discipline and staying locked in and all of that, what do I want to say? When we say dopamine reward, we all think that, oh, that's what we're chasing. We're chasing dopamine rewards. It's a rewards. Dopamine actually has nothing to do with pleasure. That's just a neurological term. They use reward for outcome seeking, and it's not outcome seeking in a pleasurable way. Dopamine really has nothing to do with pleasure. That's like a common misconception. But anyways, that just comes from my studies and everything like that. So I was able to implement focus, discipline, and motivation and everything. So you mix these two things, and us humans evolved. The way we evolved, the first things that hits us is always our emotions. Our emotions is the first thing that drives us. Then sometimes what happens is we can settle in to the logical aspect of it, which would be the discipline. But just notice, it's always going to start with motivation first. It's always going to start with your emotion and what you feel first, right? That urge. It's always going to take that first, because that's what we humans evolved with first. That's the first thing that we had. That was our survival mechanism for our amygdala. Our amygdala, which is a part of our limbic system, was the first thing to get alert. If a tiger would pop out on us, a lion would pop out on us. You think you about to sit and ponder for 10, 20 seconds when something pop out of the bushes on you? No, you're not. You need that emotional alert, like a notification, your amygdala, to put you in fight or flight. That's just it. But anyhow, so I started implementing my systems, back tested it and everything like that. And in a short amount of time, read over 100 books, because I structured my day accordingly. Got in shape. That's not a good flex, but anyways, I don't know if y'all can see that. Anyways, got in good shape, because I consistently work out every other day of the week. So I don't know if that's 3 to 4 days out the week, how you count a week, but every other day. Was able to grow a YouTube channel in under a year to 2,000 subscribers. And if y'all know anything about that, that's not an easy feat, guys. I know you guys are kind of comparing me, which is okay. I mean, I do that myself. Y'all comparing me to big YouTubers that got 100,000, 500,000, 1 million, 3 million, 5 million subscribers, and 2,000 looks puny. Hey, understandable. I get it. But if y'all look up the numbers, I'm actually I'm a part of the top 10 percenters in YouTube creators as far as having 2,000 subs. Most people that join or get into YouTube, they never see 1,000 subscribers. They don't stay in it long enough. So earlier this year, I really went into overdrive on my purpose, actually having a purpose, a motivation, a drive. And that drive was actually help others, not just me, about me doing all I could to get rich for the past couple of years or whatever. No, actually having things that made me feel good. Because after me reading all of these self-improvement books, after me reading all of these philosophy books, after me reading all of these neurological books, after me reading, and y'all know I read different subject matters, but this is not gonna be applicable to this one. People was coming for me for advice. People were coming for me for advice, and what did it do? What it did for me, it made me really feel like I had a purpose here, helping others be focused, more disciplined, and then I'm not trying to say like I just had a Midas touch, because sometimes people would stray away. People would do good for a good month or 3 months or whatever, and that's why in my program, which I guess is a good time to talk about it. I got a one-on-one mentorship right now, and in this mentorship, even after the mentorship, you're gonna get we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that later. But one of the things is day-to-day accountability, and it's a thing they call it. I'm sorry, y'all. It's man, I, like kind of get it sick, but it's a thing. and my nose start itching. But it's a thing, they call it what is it called? Prestige accountability. Maybe this shouldn't be alive. I should nerd out. Let me just make this more personable. It's 8:55 right now. I see somebody just drop into the chat. What's up? What's up? How you doing? Good morning. Good morning to you. Dropping one in the chat or just say good morning. How you doing? How you feeling? So we're gonna wrap this up. And one of my proofs that I'm living what I preach about, as y'all can clearly see, I'm in shape. And then I even have a old live video. I was teaching like a history class or something on a live video for like teaching an hour and a half off of memory. I don't have that type of recall off of memory just sitting around. Like, no, when I tell you I read plenty of books and I was spending my time staying focused, staying disciplined and do so, that's what I did. So y'all can see that proof for yourself and all of that. And then y'all can look at my YouTube channel. Y'all can see when I made this YouTube channel. Let me see if I can pull it up myself. It should probably tell you like February, early February. Yeah, I joined February 8th, and I already got 2,000 subscribers. And I like I said, I know y'all comparing me to like big YouTubers, but that's an impressive feat. I'm a top 10% creator because of that. So, let me see. So 2025, made up my mind. Start giving back, helping other people, stay more consistent, and had that sense of persistence. You know what I mean? Stay consistent, persistent. Because that's the precursor to everything that you want. Everything you guys want out of life, that is the precursor. That's the whole gist of this video. And I'm just giving y'all my staircase to the success that I'm finding now. That everything stems from having discipline, structure, focus. Just imagine if I had me at 18 years old, dude, I would be way further ahead of the things that I wanted out of life. But in the midst of that, I found a bigger and better purpose, helping others achieve focus, discipline, and quit procrastinating. Having focus, discipline on command. And it's none of that atypical, oh, just hit the gym, bro. Just, you gotta grind, bro. You gotta lock in, bro. It's none of that old atypical talks that y'all hear 24/7 by 99.5% of self-improvement creators. I'm an educational self-improvement creator. It's a big difference. I give you the education behind the way your mind functions. This is what I'm giving you guys. That's the difference. Not just about to give y'all no generic, you just gotta grind, bro. Just grind, bro. So 2025. And we're about to go into 2026, way bigger and better. And we're really gonna make a strong push. So 2025, at this point, Hef is 24 and a half years old. Once again, in the comment section, shout out to all my spring babies, man. We in here, April 18th to be exact. If y'all wanna put your zodiac signs, hey, y'all got it. Y'all can have it. Go ahead and put that in the comments below. But y'all already know it's 8:59 right now, 2025. We're gonna end this year off right. Comment down below what's one thing that you struggle with the most when it comes to focusing and concentrating on tasks at hand. Is it the structure in your day? Is it your drive, like your motivation, which I don't think you guys will struggle with, but if that is the case, let me know. If it's just overall discipline, if it's your phone is distracting you, and your phone is so like subtle or whatever that you might not be conscious of it until I actually tell you, hey, be more conscious of that. And, let me know. Hey, it's 9 in the morning. Appreciate y'all for sharing your time with me on this Sunday morning. I'll be over into my free school community. I'm going to drop it in the comments right now. Oh, my boy's getting chorus and everything. I think I'm losing my voice. My voice sound all airy. Okay. Drop that down there. No description. Well, anyways, y'all, appreciate y'all. I'm out.